Right. For the people, what we're going to do now every week, because NFL season is upon us, and I'm so excited. You see, Dan and I, for many, many years, mother, son, we bond about a lot. Dan's grew up a Patriots fan. I, of course, a Giants fan. So we had our moments over the weeks ahead. We will be sharing those stories. But we thought because Dan and I always talk NFL headlines all the time anyway. We text, we talk every Sunday. What do you think about this? What do you think about this quarterback, blah, blah, blah. And that's why I want to bring Dan onto the show. So we thought of, we're going to call it Fourth and Dan. We're really good with the names because I forgot to mention, I do like, as we just kind of detour back to Fernando, I might have to call you Fernando.
Oh yeah, I know, that's clever.
Okay, great. I think
it's your podcast. It's your show.
Yeah. Well, I got to give credit. I got to give credit to Dominic because Dom thought of Fernando. So we shout out to Dom there. Yeah. So Fourth and Dan, which is great. I thought of that one, and we're talking NFL quarterbacks in this episode because that's what we love talking about, and it's just a great topic. And anyone who is obsessed with quarterbacks like we are, this works for us. So your first topic, okay, here we go. Fourth and Dan, now or never. Under the headline, which quarterback falls into that category for you and why?
Yeah, this may shock some people, maybe not people who actually know me, but I think what makes things harder for quarterbacks is quarterbacks who rely on their legs. There's one quarterback that relies on their legs more than this guy, but he's already a proven winner in Jalen Hurts. All he does is win. You need him to throw the ball, he can throw the ball. You need him to run the ball, he'll run the ball. He'll win games. The quarterback in the NFL uses their legs the second most, which makes me worry how long his legs are going to last, is Josh Allen. So my now or never quarterback is Josh Allen because from everything we've watched on tape and from everything Joe Brady has changed this offense around so he's not throwing the ball. The DJ Moore signing made it just look like, okay, you have another guy who's going to be able to catch screens, so Josh Allen won't do anything silly like that playoff game where he did some great things, but he was the main reason they lost that game.
He admitted that.
And he admitted that. No one's taking away how great of a guy Josh Allen is. But what worries me is when the wheels fall off, which, Josh and I are the same age. There might be a little bit difference in the athletic spectrum there, but you have to imagine his legs are going to die in 2, 3, 4 years, maybe max. And I don't think his arm is scaring anyone with the way his accuracy has been.
Do you think he's similar to the Cam Newton trajectory? At least Cam got to a Super Bowl.
Right. At least Cam got to the Super Bowl. I don't want to hate on Josh Allen. Josh Allen is I was, but Josh Allen is light years above Cam Newton. Cam had that great year. I really think that hit TJ Watt had on him really impacted his game. So injuries really derailed his career.
Right.
I think
that's what you were thinking because Josh depends on his legs so much to get out of trouble. It takes a toll. That's why I mentioned, could he be on that trajectory where if he's not careful, that he might fall into that trap?
Yeah, that's what I think. And from every time we hear every Josh Allen Bills episode of them not, falling short in the playoffs, all we hear is Josh Allen, how injured he was. Oh, he was injured. My first response is there's only so many times this guy can play on his injuries and it won't backfire on him like it did with Baker Mayfield. And it's going to catch up to you. He looks like he's Superman, but it's a matter of time as he gets older and his body isn't recharging the way it used to because he's in his 30s. It's gonna happen. And again, you only have so many chances. It's a team game. And when push comes to shove and you need Josh Allen to throw the football, I'm not confident. There's 10 people I'd rather have throwing the football before him, at least. Running the ball, again, I can make the case he's the best red zone threat of all time. You can make that case. But that's because he's an athlete. As a quarterback, if you're telling him you need to throw this ball, I think there's a lot of people I take in front of him.
Here's what I think. We'll put a bow on Josh Allen because I think if he doesn't at least get to a Super Bowl and have an incredible playoff run, you know, last season's playoff was just the tip of the iceberg, where the love fest for Josh Allen wasn't as strong. It was slowly deteriorating after that performance because the field, as you know, was wide open with no Mahomes, no Burrow, no elite quarterback standing in his way, and he couldn't get it done. So I feel that unless he's got to get to a Super Bowl. So we, knowing you, Dan, we will be keeping an eye on Josh Allen, and so will the rest of the NFL, and so will all the media types, because they still have a love fest with this guy because he's a likable guy, and we'll see what happens. He does like the new uniforms, though, so
Right.
he's got that going for him. Okay, second topic, Dan, on Fourth and Dan. What starting quarterback will struggle this year?
For me, and the reason why I mentioned this name is because of just the hype I hear about this guy.
Yeah.
That he's the new sliced bread. He's the new up and coming quarterback. And there's two reasons I think he's going to struggle, and that's Tyler Shuck from the New Orleans Saints. Not only did this guy fail to beat out Spencer Rattler last year, maybe you can put the two to two together. I'm a Spencer Rattler fan. But this isn't a young guy. I think everyone was impressed with him last year. I certainly wasn't. He had 10 passing touchdowns in 9 games. His rushing numbers weren't that great. So it's not like I'm holding that against him, where secretly he had like 8 rushing touchdowns. That was not the case. Again, it goes from help outside of Chris Olave. Who do they really have? As I'm not going to call him a young guy, because he's not. He's turning 27 in September. He's supposed to be in the prime of his career. Last quarterback that we hyped up of this age was Brandon Weeden. We all know what happened to him. And right. Brandon Weeden had a great response. He was like, I'm already in the prime of my career. Well, you may athletically be in your prime, but mentally, it's going to take some time to build that. I just don't think Tyler Shuck's the guy. I think we like the swagger, the moxie that some of these people have. I feel he's got a kind of a Taysom Hill moxie. I love Taysom Hill. But I don't think Tyler Shuck's going to do well. If Spencer Rattler's still on this roster, knowing how much they love Spence, you might see Spence back in that lineup.
That would be shocking, Dan, because remember, last year Shuck came in 5-4 as a starter. The people that love him, the people that have been hyping him up, best thing since sliced bread, they say, oh, all that college experience has helped him because he has a calm demeanor. He never panics. Nothing like that. They love his arm strength. They love his ball security. But you can make a case, and I know you're going to, that ball security is probably a little bit too conservative because he doesn't take chances. He doesn't get the ball downfield enough. There's a lack of explosive plays. And every quarterback, you could be calm, but you also need to be confident to attempt those plays.
Right. I think as a rookie, your expectations are kind of low, right? We saw him come in. Maybe he didn't have, all the reps competing with Spencer Rattler. And we saw what he could do. And, we were kind of impressed. But you can perform like that in your rookie season. If he plays like he did his rookie season, he does year 2, he will not finish the season. And that's facts. 10 passing touchdowns in 9 games. You can't. It's not going to work, Gardner Minshew had a 27 touchdown, 7 INT season, something around that numbers. Now it looks like he's going to be third string quarterback in Arizona. You're thinking Tyler Shuck is probably going to follow the path of Gardner Minshew as opposed to ever being a franchise quarterback. I think what helps out Tyler Shuck is he's an athlete, but what also hurts him is Gardner Minshew didn't come into this league at 25 3/4. And Shuck's about to be 27. It's again, he's an old dude.
Yeah. You know what? He's only 4 years younger than Josh Allen. Josh Allen actually is 31. So that is kind of remarkable, right? So they're closer than age. All right. Here we go. I'm telling you, this one I like, your third quarterback topic, because no one's talking about him. And if they're talking about him, it's not all positive. Right. What starting quarterback will surprise people in your mind?
With me, it's without a doubt, it's going to be Malik Willis. Any Green Bay Packers fan already knows how good this guy is. I understand Miami doesn't have the best weapons outside of Achane. The issue is, again, it seems like the Dolphins are tanking. But you have this quarterback who in his time in Green Bay. Didn't throw an interception.
I
He
don't know
has
if they're tanking. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I don't think
yeah,
so because they signed Malik Willis, Dan. As you know, it's a 3-year, $67.5 million contract, $45 million guaranteed. I think they do believe in him, Dan.
right, but I've never seen a worse receiving core, in my life. But my point is, I don't think that's going to hurt him. We saw what he was throwing to in Green Bay,
Yeah.
and I think LaFleur really helped him out. He has two seasons in Green Bay. I know it's limited time, but it's above 73% completion. He threw around 85% completion, last season. And if you watch the tape, he's making these pinpoint accurate throws that are more accurate than Josh Allen, more accurate than a lot of quarterbacks we've seen. We saw a guy in Tennessee where Titans fans were booing him, and
Yeah.
Will Levis had to speak out on about it, saying, "Hey, you're not going to boo our guy, our teammate." So from a guy that needed his teammate to vouch for him, coming from a guy who's a starting quarterback in this league, I think people are going to be shocked. He's an athlete. He can extend plays. That's what it's about. It's extending plays, giving your receivers more time. In
Right.
this league, that defenders aren't really even allowed to cover receivers. But when you have a quarterback who's athletic enough to just extend plays, like, Giants legend Fran Tarkenton, it's gonna happen. And I have complete faith. I'm a Patriots fan, but you watch Malik Willis play, he's making advanced reads. And LaFleur's really helped him out, get his confidence back. I think we're going to see a new and improved upgrade at the Miami quarterback position.
Yeah, the new Dolphin head coach, and you probably, if I would say to the average schmo out there, who's the Dolphins' new head coach, they wouldn't even know his name. And honestly, full disclosure, Dan, I had to look it up. Jeff Hafley. Does that ring a bell? That's the new.
It does ring a bell because people were making jokes about
Yeah.
it. That book I used to read, Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Yeah.
The main character's last name is Heffley. I believe it's Heffley, not Hafley. So everyone was like,
Hafley is this guy. Yeah.
everyone was like, it's crazy to see this guy grow up, as a joke. But
Yes, as a joke. But anyway, Dan, the Coach Hafley, the new coach of the Miami Dolphins, and the offensive coordinator, Bobby Slowick, they both say about Malik Willis, and I know you're probably thinking, not you because you're a believer in Malik Willis, but the people out there are like Dolphin fans who are like, I got to see it to believe it, Linda and Dan. The coaching staff is saying the guy is living in the facility. He is like all in. He can't get enough. He's mentoring younger guys on the sideline. He is just showing his leadership ability. But the consensus of a Malik Willis out there, for whatever it's worth, when he signed with Miami, everyone and their grandmother was saying, yeah, he's got some skills. Oh, but he's a high risk gamble. That's all I heard. Oh, he's a gamble, to give him that money, and he's a gamble. You mentioned he extends plays, and the first person I thought of was not Fran Tarkenton from back in the day. What made Patrick Mahomes so great and is great? Extending plays.
right, yeah.
I mean, the great ones do it. And then I know you've heard about this, and I wasn't sure if I want to bring it up, but this guy, Mike Sando of The Athletic, he does this like tiers of quarterbacks entering each season. He's done it annually, right? Do you know where? And it's not by him. It's not by, media types voting. He interviews coaches and executives in the NFL to say, where do you put these quarterbacks? What tier? And Malik Willis is tier 4. Let me look. Tier 4. That is like, I think he's ranked 29th overall if you're tier 4. That's not good, according to these guys. So, yeah, 29th overall. But I'll tell you, and you'll love this because you mentioned him at the top, Jalen Hurts. You know where they put Jalen Hurts?
Probably somewhere really
tier
disrespectful.
3, 17th overall. The guy, 2 Super Bowls. He won 1, Super Bowl MVP. He would have been Super Bowl MVP with the other one because he outplayed Patrick Mahomes. And such disrespect.